A gunman killing a retired judge at his home in Wisconsin. Judge John Romer previously sentenced a suspect to 6 years in prison in an armed burglary case. The alleged gunman reportedly had a hit list of targets, including Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer and Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Jonathan Turley is a law professor at George Washington University. He's a Fox News contributor, and this is happening, unfortunately, more frequently. We recently had Judge Salas on, and of course, she was the judge in New Jersey whose son opened the door to a gunman who shot him. He killed her son, really seriously injured her husband, and she's been on the fight to try to make sure that judges could be protected. What do you know about this case here?
Well, this is a serious concern. I just got back from speaking to a group of judges and lawyers, and this was the primary issue raised at the conference, is how to protect judges. You have protesters showing up at the houses of justices. You have threats being made. And most of these are not lethal. I mean, obviously, these protesters are not there to physically harm these jurists, but it's making many of these judges more and more concerned about themselves and their family when their houses are targeted. And this is really the most extreme concern of all, that a former party or defendant is going to search you out and mete out his own form of retribution. And we have to really look at this as a country. I mean, we have to look at it in terms of protecting judges and justices, but we also have to look at it in terms of contributing to the rage that now characterizes our politics.
When you were at that conference, I'm curious about this. So they were talking about the need. Did they have any suggestions for the how?
No, we talked a lot about that, because there are obviously constitutional protections. People are allowed to protest. There is a federal law that makes it a crime to do so if you're trying to influence a pending case or matter. That law is not as easy to apply as people have suggested, because there are countervailing constitutional values here. So this is a difficult question for us. What I think we all agreed upon is the need for state and federal governments to ramp up the level of security that it can be made available to judges, and also to monitor some of these threats more quickly and completely.
Right, and jump on top of them. I also wanted to ask you about this. There were two Democrats that had known the Clintons very well, Doug Schoen and Andrew Stein. They've written in the Wall Street Journal that Hillary's role in the Russia smear, basically that the Sussmann trial, which was decided last week, provides more evidence that she personally directed the effort. And I wonder what you think, what you've heard since then, because I was trying to follow the news. I was out of the country last week. But it seems to me that even though that verdict didn't turn out the way that the prosecutors may have wanted, that the news that Hillary Clinton herself was basically behind it, saying, yeah, go ahead. I mean, if it comes from the top, it comes from the top. And the buck stops with her. What do you make of all that?
Well, unfortunately, many people in the United States got even less information than you received in Spain. I mean, there was the usual news blackout on a lot of these details. But what we now know because of John Durham's investigation is this striking similarity between what happened with the Steele dossier and what happened with what's called the Alpha Bank scandal. In both cases, you had lawyers involved at this firm, Perkins Coie, who were also working for the campaign. The campaign was recently fined because it hid the funding of the Steele dossier while its associates pushed the theory, these allegations, into the FBI and the CIA. The same pattern was seen with Alpha Bank, and it came out in this trial that Hillary Clinton personally greenlighted getting this allegation out, even though their own researchers said, we may be mocked for this. That is, quote, smart people will see through this. Right. Well, they did this the same thing. It went to the FBI, it went to the media, and they found very receptive people waiting for it.
It's incredible news out of that. Jonathan Turley, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dana.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.